Call to order the regular common council meeting, Monday, March 7th, 7 P.M. Roll call.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Item of pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting notice.
the meeting notices were posted at the library, the post office, the city hall, and the city website.
Also acceptance of agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept.
They beat you to it, Sarah.
Okay.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Langen,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Motion passes. Personal appearances, anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on anything on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on to the minutes from February 21st. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, roll call.
Shaw,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes. Finance committee.
Finance met this evening at 6:15. Motion to approve bills and payroll in the amount of $179,823.40.
I'll second.
Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve a temporary Class B beer license for Edgerton Chamber of Commerce for trivia night on April 2nd.
I'll second. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve event packet for the Edgerton Farmers Market.
I'll second.
Any discussion? One quick question for Howard. No parking signs probably again, at least for a little while till people get used to it. Not a problem. Temporary ones. Okay. Other than that, it's gone pretty well over the years. Anyone else? Roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve the event packet for concerts in the park series.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Speaking of no parking signs, courts, the pickleball courts, can we make sure?
Yep, we can do that again.
Okay, appreciate that, thanks.
Anyone else? Roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes,
Braun,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And there was no action taken on number 5 or number 6 to bring forward to council. So I will jump to number 7. Motion to approve declaring public works equipment as surplus, which would include one lawnmower, 6 chainsaws, 1 welder, and 1 backpack leaf blower.
I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Sandy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
yes,
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve Cedar Corp contract for engineering design for the West Fulton Street project.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
yes,
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the bid for a squad car in the amount of $13,500.
I'll second. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
yes,
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
And motion to approve to have the city pick up the amount of and pay the amount of $236.68 for the Tobacco Days event and $758.52 for the Chili Mania event with respect to the solid waste charges for those public event packets and directionally have staff make some modifications to future event packets.
I'll second.
Don't ask me to repeat that, Mayor. Is that what you were looking at me for?
I forgot what you said.
Never mind.
Okay. Any of that TIF eligible?
I guess it doesn't matter because we didn't direct where it's coming from, right? We just said the city will pay for it.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. Chris loves the dip into that. Yeah.
There's no commitment on that.
Yeah, that's right.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
yes,
Yes.
Langen,
Motion passes.
See, if you give me these tough ones to do, I just, you gotta roll with me. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve City of Edgerton Resolution 07-22, USDA Rural Development Loan Resolution for South Main Street Sewer.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Braun,
yes,
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
And that's it for finance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything from zoning board?
Yeah, hearing with one very strange.
Fire district?
I have Chief here to give us a brief update, or report, but I also want to let everybody know our monthly board meeting, which was going to typically be held, it's always the second Thursday of the month, would be this Thursday, has been moved until March 24th due to some scheduling conflicts. So our next meeting is Thursday, March 24th. And Chief is here to go over some numbers with us.
So if you have a copy of the report, I'll just try to hit the highlights for you. We tied the all-time record in February with 112 calls in February.
That's
So-
not something you have to be doing all the time.
No, exactly. And so if you run the math, that's 112 calls in a 28-day month. So if you really kind of look at it, it was pretty much a record. We are 21% ahead of where we were last year. And that is having, some budgetary pressure because all that involves fuel and labor and all those kinds of things. So we're working on that. We did have 2 days during the month where we had 10 calls in a single day, twice. And then the other thing we're starting to track is the number of simultaneous incidents where we're going different directions simultaneously. We had 15 of those during the month of February. So if you hear a lot of sirens other than Chief Kowalski's, they're ours. One of the things we're doing an awful lot more tracking incident by incident. So we're going to start providing you some statistics about the municipalities, Albion, Edgerton, Fulton. So Edgerton, and this is just something we are unbelievably proud of. For the month, your average response time for all the incidents in Edgerton was 4 minutes and 10 seconds. National standard is 5 minutes. And so that is something that I think the board and the community can be very proud of. You had 62 of the calls during the month, 119 year to date, represents about 56% of our total activity. Inspections, staffing, that's just stuff that you can kind of glance at if you want. Financially, it's in red, but thank heavens it's a $3,000 in the red and not a $30,000 in the red. So you kind of see where we're at financially. Significant events, the only thing that I would point out, we did spend 3 hours helping the Rock County Sheriff's Department look for a pickup truck that reportedly went through the ice on Lake Koshkonong. And after 3 hours, we decided they must have just turned their headlights off because it was at night. So it was kind of an interesting, it was a great training activity, I think was my quote. Significant activities, and Ramona can certainly talk about this, and I'm, I don't want to get too deep into it other than just to say, it appears we did cause the city of Edgerton a little bit of trouble, and we sincerely apologize for that. The Department of Revenue has notified the city that we and you do not qualify for the CPI +2 exemption this year, in part for 2 reasons. Number one, the format of our budget, they didn't like the format. That would have been correctable simply by moving one number. But that is what it is. And then the other half of it is, and Ramona, keep me honest here, they are changing their interpretation of how to calculate the maximum threshold. And the change they're making brings that threshold way down. And so the two of those together, they've said, you don't qualify. We don't qualify, therefore you don't qualify. Other than saying we're sorry, right? Because we went to some extraordinary, as the board members will tell you, we went to some extraordinary measures to try to make sure that the budget got crafted this year in a way that Edgerton could take advantage of that exemption. So it's a little disappointing, obviously, that they changed the rules after the fact. Because we could have addressed either one of those issues easily if we'd have known that was something they were concerned about. So sorry about that.
So what does that mean?
$9,000 basically.
$9,600 we were short, but we modified the levy limit worksheet, which we were allowed to do. So we'll prepay some debt, so we don't lose $9,600. We'll be short, but it's a much better outcome than simply being out the $9,600.
Yeah. And
How many communities do you think got caught in the same situation?
I don't know how many joint fire districts are out there that
Yeah.
follow our format and take advantage of or practice this, which is given by the statutes, as you know, it's an exemption that's legitimate. So I know Fulton and Edgerton this year, Fulton must have also taken in the exemption, so they received the same letter from the DOR. But across the state, I don't know. We had a very lengthy conversation with the DOR staff because we had this conversation when we first started taking these exemptions several years ago. And all of the email correspondence, I sent back to them and said, here, in your own words, is how here's the metric we use. And they said, well, we didn't mean that. We didn't mean expenses.
After the fact, right, which I think is the most troubling part of that, right?
And they've granted that exemption based on the metric that they told us to use, whereby we were not in compliance with the other years. But this staff member interpreted the word expenses in a different way. And so we went kind of up the chain and it ended up where they're like, it is what it is, and.
No one will appeal.
No, so the best, I mean, we did have an option to not get penalized $9,600, so we took that option. As we went up the chain, it became evident that the top of the chain pushed it back down to the staff to say, and we have it all in writing from them that this is the metric, and it would have been more fair, it would have felt more fair had they allowed us, okay, we're gonna let you interpret the way we said to do it one more time, but next year, here's how it's gonna be done, but that's not how it played out. So.
We should, I don't know, if the district does it or as the city, but we should notify, even if it's over, we should let Senator Ringham and Representative Wake know that happened, because that's just how it's supposed to work. That's a place at the state, and they, they affect policy with DOR, and, they would want to know that that's our, how that is resolved by DOR to a municipality in their district, so.
I'll do that.
Yeah, we have a direct line.
Yeah. So anyway, again, on behalf of the board, right, we do apologize. We tried to make sure you were eligible and apparently got caught up with what we didn't know, so. And we won't make that mistake next year, obviously.
Unless they change the rules again after the fact, so.
Yeah, well, that's true. I'll talk about the Milton Lima Harmony thing in a second. The only other big thing to make you aware of is down under projects with the website. We've entered into a contract with a Janesville firm to redo our website, kind of bring it up to modern standards, and make it much more usable for a lot more people. So that project is underway. On page 3, you have kind of the latest summary on the Milton Lima Harmony Johnstown et al. Project. The board has wrapped up their line-by-line review of the petition. It is now in the hands of staff to evaluate all of the things that the board asked and put together a staff recommendation. Our intent is that will come before the board, the staff the staff review, not recommendation, the staff review will come before the board at their meeting on the 24th. And in addition, our attorney, somebody you happen to know, Mr. Morgan, Bill's been helping us out specific to this project. And he's in the process of putting together a draft or conceptual MOU that if, underline the word if, the board were to think there was value in moving forward with discussions, sort of interactive discussions, it would be done under the context of an MOU. And so Attorney Morgan is in the process of putting that draft together. All of that will go to the board on the 24th. And then I think the biggest piece, which is not here, is once we get to that point, obviously that staff review will be a public document once it comes out of closed session. It gives us the groundwork to start being able to communicate with all 5 of the municipalities about the details, right? We've not really talked much about that, right? Because they're basically in the process of being reviewed. So I think we very much want to start getting this out in your hands so you've got a chance to look at the same kind of things we've been looking at for the last 4 or 5 months in a confidential standpoint. And so I think that's a good step forward. We can start having some information meetings. The board's got to figure out what format we want to do that in and that kind of thing, but start to get this more in your hands so you can start to look at it as well.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at.
We started, Tim and I talked with Ramona and Maryland and thought, we think the next appropriate step, if it moves to that point, would be to hold a special council meeting and discuss the MOU and the other things. So More to come on that in the near future.
So that's my report.
I got one quick question if it's allowed here. Potential significant frame issues on the ladder truck.
You noticed the adjectives that were used in that sentence, potential and significant? Yes.
So the ladder truck.
And all the ladder truck. Don't get me started on buying used stuff. Our fleet mechanic, who is very, very good and does this across the entire state, has identified some potential frame issues. I'm struggling with the word potential because they exist. They're not potential issues. They do exist. They've got to look at how long, what could be done and what length of time would a small modification, a minor modification, or a major modification give us on a very expensive piece of apparatus. Right now, that vehicle is in our capital plan. We have a 20-year capital plan that lays everything out and kind of levelizes it, right? So we don't hit you in any given year with some big leap. Right now, that vehicle is scheduled in 2027 for replacement. So what we've asked our mechanic to do is look at what kinds of modifications, repairs, however you want to define that, would have to be done to get that vehicle through 2027, so we don't have to deal with something that large out of cycle, because that is the last thing we really want to do. But that's, yeah, Chris would pick up on that because he understands fire trucks pretty well.
I know the truck.
It's a big issue. Yep.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah.
yep. If you know anybody that does free frame repair, let me know.
Big frame.
On a 32,000 pound vehicle.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just a, I don't know, can't get into it too much, but is there another piece of equipment out there that could be moved back and that moved forward any to get that done sooner?
That goes into that capital plan discussion we've got coming up with the board and it the way we've been able to build the capital budget, the 20-year look has really, I think, levelized things out. There isn't something that big. Literally, the one thing we can swap it with is the brush truck. Right, and the brush truck is like a $13,000 square, right? I mean, it's an order of magnitude that would just change the curve of that whole thing dramatically. So we're very seriously looking at what can we do to prolong the life of that vehicle and keep it within cycle. So where we're at.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it for fire district.
Thank you. Planning Commission, got one item on there from previous meetings.
Make a motion to accept the city Edgerton ordinance 22-02, amending section 22.21 official zoning map of the code of zoning ordinances to amend the zoning of the Edgerton apartments located south of Lake Drive and west of Dairyland Drive.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Burdick,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Braun,
yes,
Motion passes. Mayor, Alderperson, and staff reports. Chief, how's your flagpole fundraising coming?
Well, it's funny you should, yeah.
Just look at which way you're aiming at.
Please, Chief.
We have had some tremendous outpouring of money. So to date, we have $5,550. We got 1,000 pledged from the Jim Plugger. So once we spend the money, we'll have $6,550. We have another $750 pledged. Yeah, $750. So we'll be sitting at about $7,300. We are coming to a quick close because there's some things that we have to get ordered. Flag poles, you know, there's that supply chain issue deal going on. But I'll tell you, it's gonna look nice. Howard and I went out there with Piper Electric. We're gonna try and get a nice light to shine on the flag. We're looking at getting a bigger flag pole. Right now, we're looking at maybe a 35 footer. We're going through some different monument companies and we're gonna get a nice plaque. So anybody who donated $250 or above will get a line on the plaque. So these things are gonna take some time to get made. So if anybody's interested in donating, we're just gonna upgrade stuff. You know, we're still getting some prices on flag poles and flags and internal halyards and external halyards. And so Fred Falk has been a great partner with this. And, but I think we're gonna have a drop dead date of March 21st. So anything after, you know, we'll still take donations. We've got an account set up for it. But after March 21st, we're gonna have to give the sign company all the names that we want on the plaque. So if anybody's interested, you got a couple more weeks, come and see me. But it's going real well. We got a possible location. But Howard will be talking to Parks and Recreation about it. So I can't believe how generous people have been with this, and a lot of positive on this whole project. So it'll be nice when it's all done.
Easy one to put the flag up and down, as much as we've been doing that over the years, recent years.
I know. I've been thinking about that. For Howard's guys going with the half staff and that. So we're definitely keeping that in mind. But mark your calendars. We're hoping for a June 14th dedication, which is Flag Day. So we're hoping for a June 14th dedication for this. That's our whole goal. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Mayor, Council, and staff. Thank you for the awesome retirement gifts. They'll be used and treasured for years. Also, thank you for a wonderful 30-year career. Keep the city moving forward. Cindy. I don't have anything else. Does anybody have anything? No, so.
Oh, the FFA casino night is Friday night. The FFA, their fundraiser, one of their fundraisers, it's casino night, it's Friday night at the Tri-County Community Center.
Okay, anybody else, or do you want to hit number 9 here?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. Discuss and consider land sale.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Sandy Davis.
Yes.
Langen.
Yes.
Braun.
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Paul Davis.
Yes.
Burdick.
We are in full session.